shot, one chance, one move, one dance, one shot. Brace yourself for the bass. One shot.
Saints Nation, welcome back to the Saints Gaming CA channel as we're getting ready to have ourselves another awesome match here for Play versus Overwatch up against an old foe, but from a different league, of course. It's going to be our St. Clair Saints up against Shenandoah Esports. My name's Dan Banner, also known as Mr. Danner, is joining alongside me here today on the commentary desk once again. Shadi Hanna, Lil Zeddy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I was just getting so pumped up at that intro music. I just absolutely love that. Heard it a million times, but it just never gets old.
Absolutely. Definitely absolute bangers. Constantly having awesome intros here from actually one of the players here on this Overwatch squad. Of course, Commanda doing all the video editing for us here in that regard. But in regards to this matchup itself, of course, we do have Saints and Shenandoah, and this is going to be an interesting one. Our Saints looking to try and break even back here with this league, currently sitting 1 win, 2 losses after a couple of tougher ones, to say the least. Actually going to throw this over to my scoreboard real quick here. The last one we got to play was off stream against UT Arlington. That one just straight up did not go in St. Clair's favor. Meanwhile, the one against Cornell about 2 weeks ago, close but no cigar, going down the game 5, but just could not deal with Widowmakers, if I do recall correctly, on the side of Cornell. And then Brighton and Stratton, of course, we took that one 2-1 fashion. However, haven't seen that a W in this league since, of course, week 1. But I'm going to take a quick second here, actually, while I have the opportunity to introduce who we do have here on the Shenandoah Esports side. I know they've been working on their production, too, a little bit. It's nice to see, but we do have Dragonblade X. If he's not playing Genji, then I'm definitely going to be disappointed. We have Enders, Clarity, Doxo, Breezy, and Bana for the side of Shenandoah. So looking forward to seeing how everybody gets into, or how everybody does end up playing. It looks like Li Zhang, similar to last week, going to be the starting point. What kind of insight do you got for us for Li Zhang again?
Well, we keep seeing a lot of these Symmetra comps showing up here, especially in the Play versus League. A lot of Symmetra teleports, especially on that Yijing in that center tower map. It's really popular. A lot of teams like to go up into that high window and get control of the point immediately. And, you know, St. Clair, especially with these Reinhardt Zarya comps that we've been seeing all semester, I totally expect them to run something similar. I don't see any reason to switch, especially since it's been working relatively well. Yujing is usually a map that St. Clair, you know, takes fairly uncontested. It's not usually too big of an issue. So I'm looking forward to seeing some, you know, good, consistent play. You know, I don't need to be surprised when I watch these games, Danners. I just need to be impressed. And I think St. Clair can impress me with some, you know, well-coordinated attacks and just, like, you know, sticking to your guns, doing what works and doing it well.
Absolutely. Now, without further ado, Game 1 is just about to be underway here. Going to hop on into it. Of course, Li Zhang Tower is where we're going to be starting things off. Let's take a look, of course, see who seems to be playing what this time by. On the left side, my overlay is baiting me. We do have Shenandoah Esports on the left and St. Clair on the right. Of course, best of 5 action here tonight once again. And it looks like Dragonblade, okay, he's no Genji main. He's got that Reinhardt logged in. He's actually a tank player, so interesting to see nonetheless. Meanwhile, Saints going to be bringing out their pretty standard stuff. You said you were looking for some Reinhardt shenanigans, and looks like Saints aren't going to waste any time bringing that composition back out.
Love to see Prince Wada just charging in right at the start of that. There's the teleporter coming up from the tail.
Oh god, yeah. Right away, instantly charging on in, and Prince Wada's going to get himself knocked out right away. Babel's stuck kind of on the outside, but he's not going to be able to get himself very many clean shots from this angle. Imp trying to keep everybody topped off, but there's only so much you can do with that AoE healing. Not very good at bursting it out, and he's going to eventually go on down. Saint's going to lose his first one.
I mean, for St. Clair, it's that mirror match, right? So when you're getting into an early mirror match, this early on into the round, you don't have that much ult charge. It really all comes down to execution. And Shenandoah demonstrating that a really solid execution here from their squad. That's going to be the teleporter coming down from Apostle. Really well done to shut that play down in this stretch.
Yeah, Fitzwater going to try and lead the charge here one more time, see if they can get themselves onto this point. 20% and going down. That is Dragon Blade, who's going to be popping off the Shatter this time by, and with a little bit of help from the rest of this Shenandoah Esports squad, Saints are going to fall once again.
Love how you said Dragon Blade better be on Genji, and then we get him find out he's
Insta-curse.
Yeah, it's just perfect. It's exactly what you expect. I mean, looking up at this next fight, you've got a ton of ultimates available on the side of Shenandoah, so they should be able to maintain control of this for at least another about 20-30%. You know, you've got that Zarya Graviton coming up. A number of ultimates still available, actually. Baptiste and McCree both have their ultimates as well on the side of Shenandoah, so huge team fight potential from this team. Don't really need to commit too much to get a successful victory.
And they're going to try and push on in one more time here. Let's see if they can get this going right now. Just about 60% in the favor of Shenandoah Esports, but a bit of a back and forth here. Clarity does go down, but does get the ultimate op just in time to at least hold the defense a little bit longer. That is going to be Prince Wada with the Shatter. Does find one, I do believe. He's going to be able to pick up Feina as well. Take care of one of the support players on the side of Shenandoah, but can the Saints actually clean this up? I don't think they have enough firepower. Back to the spawn room.
You know, looking at that fight, it just looked a little bit disjointed from St. Clair. They had all these ultimates and they spaced them out, you know, decently well, but it was just capitalizing on picks and being able to actually get yourself set up on point. They were always kind of like trading one for one, and when Shenandoah has control of the point and they're winning out on these one-for-one trades, it's really difficult to actually build yourself a lead.
Yeah, that was a very quick beat drop coming out of Imp, but doesn't even matter. Saints are just getting cleaned up left, right, and center. They don't even have to use any of their ultimates if they really don't want to. Dragon Blade X had this Shatter in the pocket ready to go at any point, and he's just going to do it for style, as St. Clair are going to get shut out here for round one.
You know what? I mean, I don't know what to say about that. It's like, it's rough because you're running basically the same comp into another team, and they're just like, hey, you know, I'm you but stronger. Like, that literally Shenandoah hits you with that, and it's one of those things you're gonna have to just look at this, and there's really no other way you can take this play. You have to look at this again and say, well, what did they do differently than we did? Because we're running the same heroes. You know, we're clicking the same buttons, pressing the same keys, but they're just pressing them harder or pressing them better. And it's situations like that where, you know, that's really not how you want to start off a match. You never want to start off getting beat on the mirror. So hopefully, St. Clair, you know, employing a slightly different tactic here, going for that dive, should be able to get a nice little morale boost here if they can get themselves on point nice and early.
Yeah, no teleport stuff at this time by, however, so it's going to mean that the side of Shenandoah Esports, oh god, that could have been bad there, available, but Shenandoah Esports going to get themselves on the point right away. Available, no rewind available because he almost fell off the side. See if he can find an opportunity, maybe snag one of these squishy members in just a moment. Going to at least take care of the teleporter, but it doesn't matter when everybody is already right there in front of your face. Apostle going to be the first casualty here in this fight, but Kale going to fight right back there, making this McCree work from the outside. Has himself some decent angles. That being said, though, the point does go over into the favor of Shenandoah Esports. Saints going to lose Imp as well. They're going to try and make something happen. However, this fight is not looking very successful. Saints trying to get themselves out, but it's going to be too little, too late. Someone's on the point. Where in the world is it? They are going to go down, I think it was Kale with one last-ditch effort, and sure enough, Shenandoah is going to take this one once again.
Look at that. I mean, that back cap attempt from Kale was definitely cheeky, but I mean, it kind of lends itself to describing exactly what this game looks like. You have St. Clair on the one side, you know, they're completely disjointed, they're splitting up, you know, they're going one by one, they're trickling in, they're left in awkward flank positions. And then you look at Shenandoah, and they move as a unit. It's like every time somebody clicks to the right, they're like the other five follow. And it's that coordinated movement, that coordinated aggression that's really lending them these ability power in these team fights, because they're able to take these 6-on-6s way better.
And this could be a much better 6-on-6 here for Saints, at least getting it started rather strongly. That being said, though, Dragon Blade tried to make something happen there with the Shatter. Not going to happen. We're going to go for an absolute ride here with Prince Wada. Primal Rage going in clutch, going to get himself a couple of kills. Apostle going to get himself on the board as well. Make that a double, maybe a triple. Now Kale's going to get that one. Saints going to finally get some control over this point.
this is kind of like I'm gonna take back what I said just a little bit, and the only reason I'm backtracking a little is because when you're looking at a dive comp, it's okay to split yourself up a little bit if you're able to capitalize on that pick. I think that was the bigger problem on that last push from St. Clair, is that they sent in, one by one, the ants go marching in and they're not picking up anything as they're attacking these points. But this time, that Winston lead from Prince Wada was beautiful. You find the pick onto the healer, you find the next pick onto the DPS, and then after that, everything you want.
There we go, the big bang attempt coming out here from Baleable, but does not quite get through him because that was the solid invulnerability field coming out of Fena. Everybody's now kind of stuck trying to figure out what to do here on the side of the Saints, trying to find something. Graviton, maybe a little bit over excessive here coming out of the side of Shenandoah Esports, but still going to be able to clean this up as long as they can catch Baleable, but there's like 5 members of the side of Shenandoah here. Baleable just trying to get as much extra percent as possible. Does eventually fall, but it's now going to go right back on over here to Shenandoah.
Fortunate from Baleable. You're talking about charging up that ultimate percentage, but he's only at 25. When you're that far down, I think it's better to just take the death and regroup with your team, because now St. Clair, they've given up nearly 10-15% on the point because of that choice. So, just learning that discipline, knowing when to back off, when to just, take the SD and get the reset with your team. We got that combo coming in again, though.
Yep, jumps in exactly right away. But then we also have Deadeye coming out here. That's from Doxo, however. It wasn't from Kale. Kale's going to try and answer right back, but it's a bit of an awkward spot to try and be in. But now it's going to start getting messy. Ourselves Prince Wada diving right in the middle of everything. Dragonblade, I think, did fire off his shatter, but it's more of a panic shatter, if anything. Overtime is ticking here. Nice shot here from Prince Wada to knock Enders right off the side, so not having to burn through his health bar, just get him away from here. Fena is going to be the last one alive, and she is eventually going to get taken down here. Kale goes on a 4K, and that is going to mean this flips back on over, but one more bad team fight here for St. Clair, and that could be curtains for this entire game 1.
Kale got the 4K, but Prince Wada with the Winston getting that knockoff, like that map kill onto Enders, is exactly what you needed to do to win that team fight. If you notice the kill order in that fight, Tanks went down first, and then Kale popped all the squishies in like 3 headshots back to back. And it's a unique way of approaching a team fight. Usually you want those carries, but not this time around.
Yeah, the Pulse Bomb not going to get the target that Baleable was hoping for. We still do have Kale just firing on through. Apostle's going to find Dragonblade. Fena goes down again. Kale has been finding the right angles, keeping himself safe, finding the shots, takes care of Doxo, and the rest of Saints plowing through. Imp and Apostle going to get themselves on the board. One more over to Kale. And to be honest, now it's just this next fight wins, basically. Do we have ourselves a 3rd round here in game number 1? Or will Shenandoah Esports turn this one around? We'll see in just a second.
I think we've got ourselves a 3rd round, Danners. Take a look at those ultimates. You've got 4 on the side of St. Clair, nearly a 5th on Apostle, and on the side of Shenandoah, you're basically just sitting on grab and that Deadeye, and already losing a carry this early in the fight is not what you want when you're in that position.
Oh my god, Kale with the 3K off of the single use of the Deadeye. Going to single-handedly turn this fight and give us a 3rd round. You called it best. The ultimate utilities were all in Saints' favor, and Kale, with such a difficult ultimate to sometimes land, oftentimes you maybe only get 1 or 2 picks with that, getting 3 just completely wiped that fight.
It was a beautiful choice from Kale to execute that right away early on into the fight, because they were tracking resources very well. They knew Beat wasn't available. They knew that Symmetra Shield wasn't available. And once those 2 shields are down, if you can deal with the Reinhardt and Zarya, either knock them out of the way playing the Winston, or disable their shields, take them out, push them off the zone, nothing is saving you from Deadeye. And in a last-ditch 99% versus 99% situation, you have to touch, you have to put yourself in that line of fire. You don't really have a choice. So St. Clair did a really good job of managing those resources, taking their moment, finding that perfect time to strike, and committing to it relentlessly.
All right, Saints going to charge on in here, going to try and make this Symmetra play work this time by, but it looks like right now Shenandoah's got themselves the better play, at least in this time with the Symmetra there from Clarity. They're a little bit faster to execute. We see a lot of low health bars here on the Saints. They're running all the way back to the spawn, but eventually more and more Saints just seem to be falling. Trying to get themselves back into dodge, but they're going to have to get stuck here. Try to regroup for just a second, which should mean that this point is going to be captured over by the side of Shenandoah to start things off again. 3 for 3 in regards to first touches.
I love how restricting Overwatch metas are. Both teams are running double shield, Junkrat Sim, Lucio Path. It's just the availability of creativity in your compositions is oftentimes very, very much restricted by what's popular and what's strong. And, you know, Yizheng Tower is definitely one of those maps where you want to have that shield burst, especially if you know how powerful shields are defensively. Running those shield bursts is going to be huge. And for Shenandoah, they were just able to execute better on that Junkrat. Finding that early pick is what really led itself to that early team fight win.
Absolutely, these close quarters natures can make things rather difficult, but it makes it beautiful for the characters like this Junkrat. Riptire should be right around the corner. I'm sure we'll see it in just a second. He's getting a little bit slowed down, however. Prince Wada on the point, trying to defend. He does have that shatter. Let's not see a panic shatter, and he's not going to fall for it, not this time. And that's going to be 1 kill at least here for Bailable off that Riptire. The shatter from Dragon Blade goes right into the shield of Apostle. Absolutely missing its shot and beautifully placed there from Apostle. He's going to be able to get himself a 3-player flux here, brings him right down, gets himself another one. Apostle, he may be the tank, but he's got some damage as well. Kale still on the point as well, and the rest of the Saints going to be able to slowly but surely just eat their way through this and are going to get themselves this first capture now on this point. Get themselves a little bit of percent and get themselves back in the game with tons of ultimates on board.
Yeah, you're talking about ultimates. You've got 4 on the side of St. Clair and nearly a 4th on the side of Shenandoah. So you can bet this next fight is going to be an absolute bloodbath. I do really like the Sigma pick from St. Clair. That rock, the ability to force people off the map. As soon as that Reinhardt shield comes down, it's incredibly scary if you're Shenandoah. So they really need to play around that shield. And it's kind of like a bait and switch. You have the rock, so they don't want to burn the shield, but if they don't burn the shield, then your backline's getting burnt by a Junkrat. So it's that double utility, that double threat that's really providing a lot of value in this team fight.
Here they go. They're going to try and jump right onto Commanda, but it ends up getting completely baited out by that invulnerability field. Beautifully done from Commanda, as we still have pretty much all of our Saints still alive for this push. Kale, of course, he loves these extra shields. That beam just gets stronger and stronger the more it attacks shields, and it's just going to assist the rest of the Saints here. With Prince Wada find himself a double. I believe Bailable got himself on the board as well, and they're going to be able to turn this one nicely. Getting all set up too, those turrets in a dangerous position. It's going to be tough for Shenandoah to break this.
That's the problem with restrictive metas, is that eventually people start catching on and figuring out what to do. And yeah, you know, both teams are running the same DPS line. Yeah, Xanders, I see it too. But you have to give credit to St. Clair for recognizing exactly how to pilot these picks and understand how to play that counter.
Even though the Invulnerability Matrix got sent down there for Commanda, unfortunately, Bailable still getting caught out by the Riptire from Doxo. This could be a solid fight here, but Apostle going to completely flip this on his head, almost literally dropping at least 2 members down from the skies, cleaning this out again. 90%. I think Shenandoah only has 1 more opportunity, 1 more fight in them. Otherwise, this is going to be Saints taking game 1.
I think Imp wanted to get in on the bounce action, jumping through the teleporter just to blast himself onto point. Everybody's bouncing around in these team fights. You know, all that displacement, all that movement, you know, it's really making it difficult for Shenandoah to find a team fight win.
Hopping on in, of course, but Kale's going to be one of the first casualties here in this one. Prince Wada short to follow. Faintness and Vulnerability Matrix plus the Amplification Field now is going to make things extremely difficult for the Saints to try and break. Tons of healing, tons of damage coming through there. Saints are going to be forced to retreat, going to be flipped right back on over for Shenandoah, and to be honest, Saints don't have that much time either. It's starting to get nerve-wracking.
You've got a little bit of time to build up some ultimate charge. Like you said, not a whole lot of time, but you've got a little time to maybe close out some of those ult gaps. Like Bailable, Wada, you know, they're within reach if they can get that damage dealt early. Bailable taking quite a big amount of damage, though, this early on in the fight is not what you want to see. You want to be able to pump out that damage from a distance and get that ult charge up as quickly as possible.
Oh my goodness, that's an unfortunate pick there, as Bailable's going to go down. Clarity with a huge play to make this a 5v6 before the fight even gets started. Is any of the Saints on the point? They are going to be able to touch and at least get this overtime going, but you can kind of tell they're not very confident about it. Dragon Blade X with the shatter to stop this. Prince Wada, though, not done yet, does eventually fall. Where is Bailable? He's a little bit from the far side of things. He cannot touch. Game 1 going to Shenandoah.
Unfortunately for Bailable, that is just going to be a GG Riptire. Not going to be able to accomplish much for his team. And, you know, Shenandoah, it really just came down to them just having better individual execution. St. Clair had a number of nice comebacks. You know, we saw Kale really pop off in this series. As I mentioned, you know, you really have to give credit where credit is due to the rest of his team for setting up for those plays, as you saw, you know, zoning off those shields and providing that value, providing that angle so that he could actually land that high noon. But for Shenandoah, I mean, they just played better. Like, the comps were the same, right? It's really hard to nitpick and see, you know, specifics and individual things that could have been done or changed or adjusted for St. Clair when you're just getting outclassed on your own heroes. So for for Shenandoah, really, it's, you know, coming out of game one with their head held high. And for St. Clair, it's, you know, reevaluating maybe some of the decisions you're making as a team, seeing if maybe you can close some of those individual gaps with better coordination and better target focus.
I mean, moving into whatever this next map, whatever it ends up being here, I mean, we kind of touched on a little bit earlier, Lejong Tower just seems to favor a certain kind of composition. And then, yeah, of course, when both teams are playing the exact same composition, it's strictly then based off of strategic execution. And right now, at least for game 1 and 3, Saints just fell a little bit behind. That being said, though, game number 2 is going to be on Volskaya Industries, going to get the 2 CP point right out of the way, right off the bat. Going to keep ourselves on the same sides here. Now, going for 2 CP, we know this gets volatile. What kind of composition should we be seeing here from the side of St. Clair, or for Shenandoah, for that matter?
I mean, for Volskaya Industries, it really depends. Attack defenses, it's one of those maps where, you know, attacking and defending, the compositions do vary quite a bit. Sometimes you'll see dive into dive. Volskaya Industries is not often not one of those maps. You'll typically see things like shields on defense trying to hold that front gate, just allowing teams to break through that initial entrance. Whereas when you're attacking, you'll want these dive comps, you'll want these diving tanks to get up into the backline, focus out those supports, because picks on attack, on offense, rather, on Volskaya Industries means so much more because of how long that walk back is.
Oh, yeah.
So if you can get that pick, if you can make it a 5v5, it doesn't matter because you're going to get back to the fight about like 10 seconds before your opponent does. So for St. Clair, you know, dive on attack is exactly what you would expect in this situation.
Now we're about to get ready to get all set up here. We got a couple of different picks here for both sides, actually. Dragonblade not going to be on the Reinhardt this time. You kind of mentioned dive a little bit, but looks like going to get a little bit of a mix of that, plus a little bit of long-range damage there with Doxo on the Ashe. Meanwhile, for the side of St. Clair, available back on the May, appropriate here for this level, considering the snow, I suppose. And here we go, one more. Or they're starting off this first attack here. How effective is this Ashe going to be here? Feyna actually nearly getting taken out, but Clarity right off the bat going to take care of Commanda nice and quick. Apostle and D.Va trying to scoop up as much damage as possible. Bailable going to find Feyna finally, getting the final kill. And even though this is getting a little bit tradey here, of course, like you were saying, trying to run back to this point is extremely like, it takes a long time. And nicely done for Bailable. He found himself like 4 kills in that fight, and he's going to basically make it so that Saints take this no problem.
Yeah, Volskaya Industries is such a punishing map. You know, we talked about it the last time we were doing Overwatch together about how 2CP is just one of those map styles that everyone's like, like I hate this so much. What happened to Apostle? Wait a second.
If he was stuck in mech, or if he was stuck in Baby D.Va form, could be just going back to reset, get the mech right away, but they could have also been maybe looking to make a switch. I'm going to quickly take a look and see what he's up to. No, he just wanted to get his mech back. So, going to try this again. Complete 6-on-6 and not be stuck in that Baby D form.
I was going to say, it's an odd time to SD, sir, but I mean, if you're going to do it, at least do it tactically. It was an creative approach, definitely.
Whoa.
Getting into this one.
Apostle just completely gobbled up that pulse bomb from Clarity, going to shut down the possible early damage on that engage. But that being said, though, it doesn't look like that's going to be the end of the world here for this Shenandoah Esports squad. So far, this fight going very drastically into their favor, with 3 of the Saints falling, make that a 4th as Commanda goes down. This one's going to get wrapped up. Apostle just going to take a dive. This time, the SD definitely making sense this time by. Everyone's going to reset. Let's see if Saints can break this thing.
Apostle with the double SD, you know, it's a beautiful combo. You love to see it. It's a peak Overwatch, if I may say so myself. But getting into this next team fight, you know, you've got a lot of ultimates available, as you were mentioning. Shenandoah, they not only had to commit a number of ultimates to defend themselves, but they actually lost one as well. So you're at a huge disadvantage going into this next fight, and if you can get 66% on this point, that's better than most teams are going to do. This is a very difficult point to attack. So for St. Clair, having such a huge ultimate advantage, you need to recognize that this is your window and exploit it immediately.
Eyes are going to be on this Blizzard here from Bailable. Can it find any sort of value, or is it going to go down nice and quick? The invulnerability field going to be taken away from Commander nice and quick. Dragonblade going to finish that one off, so one less piece of utility. Saints might opt to slow down, maybe wait for that to come back off on on cooldown before maybe making their move. That's going to be the wall coming out. Here comes the Blizzard. He's going to put it, I believe, on the high ground. He's going to scoop up Feyna as well as Enders. So 2 quick kills, and the Saints might be able to pull through this here, as everybody on the side of Shenandoah is just getting absolutely dropped. The Mercy sneaking in there. Beautifully done there from Breezy, able to sneak himself in there, bring back Enders. And another huge ultimate scoop from Apostle. That Graviton from the side of Enders does go down. Huge shatter from Prince Wada. We're charging on through, keeping them pushed here. We still are on this first third, however. Shenandoah has been doing an okay job of at least making sure that somebody is touching this point at all times, but it's finally looking to be cleaned up. They're trickling. They're having themselves an extremely hard time. Second third of the point just about to be captured. Diva Bomb comes out, not going to find any effectiveness, but one after another. Saints are nearly in position. We're just riding along with Prince Wada for this one. We're going for a ride. Getting trolled by Bailable a little bit too. Absolutely love what I'm seeing here from the Saints. A little bit of action, and this is getting nuts here. I am almost out of breath at this one. Nice shot.
That team fight, perfect timing. We'll let Danners take a breather right to round out that team fight. I want to talk about how that team fight initiated. I don't know if you caught that, Danners, but Bailable set up the wall on that diagonal angle on the high ground, then walked into the small room and dropped the Blizzard. And as Shenandoah turned around to run, the corner of the wall actually blocked off the doorway. That had to have been rehearsed. That was so expertly executed. There was an immediate 2 picks on both the tank members of Shenandoah that just let the team fight completely go in the way of St. Clair. Like, there was nothing you can do when you lose your 2 tanks within the first 3 seconds of a team fight. So really, Bailable hard carried that team fight. Excellent performance from him on the May to win out that round and put St. Clair to 2-0 advantage going on to the side switch.
I mean, massive props to the Saints, too. That was such a prolonged team fight. I know I was choking on myself a little bit trying to keep up with all of the action. I could only imagine being in the players' side of things, in their seats, trying to get every single call-out, shooting down everybody as they're just trickling in, one after another. And God forbid you miss... you let somebody onto the point and it just stalls things out just that much more. Now taking a look at the side of Shenandoah, we have a couple different heroes, it looks like, this time by. What are we looking at?
For the side of Shenandoah, you've got this Echo, which is a really fun pick. Like, I love seeing Echo. It's definitely one of those stranger heroes that, only comes out in niche situations where you can get a lot of value out of that ultimate, or you're following up on your team, doing a lot of damage from backline, you're cleaning up with that laser. So I definitely like this Echo pick. I think it actually has a lot of potential on Volskaya. There's a lot of open air where you can abuse that flight and really do some damage from a safe distance. But for St. Clair, I mean, this defense is pretty standard. It's pretty similar to what they were running on offense, in fact. And, it's a comp that they've obviously practiced on. They're strong on those heroes, and they're executing pretty well.
Yeah, this fight just wasn't even close. Beautifully done there for the Saints. Kale going to find himself a double at least, and they're going to clean that up nice and quick. Pretty well uncontested. Back to the drawing board here now for the side of Shenandoah, who got the switch off the Echo, and Feyna's going to be switching off of the Ana back to the Baptiste. So maybe a little bit unconfident with how they should break this.
Yeah, I mean, this Mercy pick is just one of those picks where I'm looking at it and I'm like, like, it's okay, it heals, okay, it does damage, but like, that's not what you're trying to do on Volskaya. You're not trying to have extended fights. You're trying to capitalize on the fact that, you have ranged advantage, that you can control high ground. Baptiste is so much better. Baptiste Lucio, as a support combination, they can actually control high ground. You have the spring jump on Baptiste, you have the wall glide on Lucio, combined with the rest of your team that for the most part can actually access these high ground combat areas. You can really take control once you break past this initial doorway, but Mercy just isn't allowing you to do it. Maybe if you pull out a Pharah, but I don't know. Without the Pharah, it just seems a little cringe.
And then fight happens right away. They lose Breezy basically instantly, and the rest of the Saints going to make this look simple. Takes them down one after another. Imp getting involved as well. Who says supports can't frag? Going to take care of the tank of all players as well. And it looks like Shenandoah going to be still stuck here at the Arches. Every time they try to breach, they're just getting shut down. And Saints, they only use the Blizzard in that fight. They have 4 ults available.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for St. Clair. Like, there's not a whole lot you need to be worried about right now. If I'm going to be honest, like, this looks like a completely different roster than what we saw on DJing. Like, they're coordinated, they're moving together, they're relying on each other's abilities, they're finding picks, and they're snowballing from those picks. That this is the St. Clair we know and love, the St. Clair that is known for its target focus, for its just absolutely abusive defenses. But this Symmetra pick coming out from Clarity is going to change the dynamic a little. Shenandoah's in the backline now.
A rough little shatter there from Prince Wada. However, Apostle going to clean this up with a Diva Bomb to take care of Clarity. The rest of the Saints going to follow up suit. There is only maybe one, maybe two fights left in the tank for Shenandoah before they lose this one. And it would be incredible for Saints to get themselves a full hold here.
Regardless of how this ends up, St. Clair needs to be, recognized for this beautiful defense that they're holding. You've already denied 3 minutes on the attack from Shenandoah, and as we mentioned before, that second point on Volskaya is not easy to cap. So this first point here, even if they do get it, they have such a small window of time to capitalize and fully complete the second point. So St. Clair, excellent position to ride this one.
Oh my goodness, the perfect Maywall shuts off the tank from the rest of the composition. Breezy's going to be next to fall. Feina's going to be stuck as well. And right now, Shenandoah, they're just trickling in. They're wasting their time. They only have 35 seconds left on the clock. They need one more breach into this point. They've tried the teleport here from Clarity. I think Clarity's switched to like maybe 3 or 4 heroes this time in this round just to try and make something happen. The breach doesn't work, and they're just time and time again putting themselves in a rough spot.
It's even hard to talk about, Danner. I'm trying to put color on this, but it's just team fight win after team fight win.
Oh, that's one way to change it, though, off of the shatter from Dragon Blade, but it goes right into a blizzard from Bailable. It's one way to shut things down nicely, and I don't think anybody's going to be able to touch. Never mind, there comes the Mech of Enders, going to try and at least touch for just a second. Feina tries to get involved, does go down. Saints with the skunking here, giving the 2-0 victory for this second game. Saints looking good here on Volskaya.
Beautiful execution from St. Clair. It's exactly what you need, especially after taking that loss on map 1. It's a best of 5. You want to find that win early on, get that tempo swinging in your favor, so at least you have a lot more time in the bank to really get yourself set up, especially when we switch back to these map points. I believe we will be going back to another control before this series is wrapped up. I can't remember exactly how PlayVS likes to set up their series. But if we see ourselves in another control, you want to make sure that, you've had time to really crack Shenandoah's mental, force them to play a lot of Overwatch, burn them out a little bit, and get yourself set up for that map before you end up back in that situation. So, this is a good win. Ride that energy into the next one.
Absolutely. Keep the momentum going. It looks like we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a switch in regards to the sides. But now, just waiting to see what the map pick is going to be here for side of Shenandoah this time by. And now I'm trying to think, it should be an escort map if I do recall correctly. So something like Dorado maybe we've seen a little bit of in this PlayVS series, or in this PlayVS season rather, so far. But I'll have to see in a second. Anytime I try to make map predictions, it usually ends up being completely opposite of whatever I say. And it looks like, no, it is going to be an escort map, and it's going to be Havana. So that's where we're going this time by. And we've seen the Saints go for these right to your spawn defenses, hit or miss, however, so far this season. And with Havana being the pick, do you have any sort of insight for this one?
I mean, like you said, it's exactly what you're going to expect from St. Clair, is that early forward defense. They're not voting for Havana unless they're trying to do something cheeky, that's for sure. And what I've seen so far is ever since we've had this roster swip coming out from fall term, it's been a lot more difficult for this new team to execute on that early base defense. They're just not as practiced on it. They haven't rehearsed it as much. So hopefully, this is something that they've been scrimming, testing out, getting themselves all solidified on it, because you really need your entire team to be on the same page if you're going to execute a defense like that and extend it for a long period of time. Because as you mentioned, it's high risk, high reward. If this backfires, they're going to get just absolutely demolished in payload push, because it's a long walk back, especially when you're guarding that far forward.
Absolutely. Now, we're about to hop in. You can probably hear it here in the background, of course, about to get into the action. Speaking of all the action available, there is still so much more happening here on the Saints Gaming CA stream this week. Be sure to catch us tomorrow for the Battle of Ontario. Fanshawe versus St. Clair and NECC Rocket League action. Should be an absolute crazy matchup. So be sure to join us tomorrow at 5:30. That being said, let's hop back into the actual match here itself. Saints are going to be on the defensive side, I do believe, to start things off. And I don't see them any... Oh, wait, never mind. There they are. Cheeky in the corner as always. Here we go.
Come on, Danners. Who are you kidding? This is St. Clair on Havana. They're not going to defend anywhere else.
That being said, though, they did actually let them come out this time. They're going to try and fight them just on the outside. And Clarity's going to find himself first blood. Prince Wada does go down. Kale, though, going to fight right on back. Takes care of that invulnerability matrix. Back and forth battle here with Apostle. He's going to lose the mech, but still in the fight. Never mind. Dragonblade is going to find him. Kale in a bit of out of position. He's going to get cleaned up. And actually a solid attack here for Shenandoah.
I mean, it's like you said, right? They were a little late to the door. They lost their tank super early. It's just, it's one of those situations where, like, if you're losing the Reinhardt that early, you have to recognize that, you know, it's not just a mispositioning error. You know, your heals aren't coming through. Your DPS isn't finding their picks. And this is exactly what I was talking about, is that you need to rehearse this if you're going to run it, especially if you're going to run it in League play.
Absolutely. Shatter coming through. It's going to take care of Commanda and Bailable, but no one on the side of Shenandoah is going to be able to capitalize on that opportunity. Imp might be the first one to go down. Actually, never mind. Bailable is going to fall as well. Doxo with a solid elimination. We do have the amplification matrices both being used here from both sides, Baptiste, Fena, and Commanda, but this fight has just gone completely in the favor of Shenandoah, pretty much off of the first frag. We see the cart coming along. The only one left alive here is Prince Wada. This is going to be probably one of the fastest times I've ever seen on this first capture for Havana against the Saints. Beautifully done for Shenandoah.
I mean, like I said, if you lose your tempo on that early defense, it's really hard to regain it. St. Clair actually going to try to get the
God. What an opportunity for the Saints to try and get one final defense. We do have the Deadeye coming out here from both Kale and Doxo as well. Saints battling back and forth. However, they are getting cleaned up completely. Shenandoah going to get themselves his first point.
I don't like that choice from St. Clair, if I'm going to be honest, Danners. I mean, you're already losing so far behind. You have to know that ultimates are available. They've hardly committed any against you. They've just been absolutely rolling you up until this point. You know, you really got to take that second, slow things down, assess the pace of the game, and recognize that you're at a disadvantage. Making plays like that is exactly what's going to lead Shenandoah to continue rolling through these points the way that they have been so far, because they have a huge positional advantage right now.
And the Shatter is going to get absolutely nothing there from Dragonblade. This is exactly what the Saints need to try and move in on this cart, try and pull off a bit of a defense. This cart has been moving pretty significantly, however, but just over a quarter through, almost halfway through this point. But as soon as the one player falls, I like this from Shenandoah. They're not going to force the issue. Just playing a little bit of a peekaboo game by the garage doors and waiting for their tank to come back and try this again.
Shenandoah is playing offense the way St. Clair needs to be playing defense. That's what I'm seeing here. You know, after that pick comes down, recognize you're at a disadvantage, back off, give them a little bit of room, and then go in for the kill.
And the fight ends up going down here with Kale going to be able to clean up at least one. Basically acting like a tank here with this Mei. Does have that ice block, of course, to be able to stop any sort of damage for at least a little bit. So Saints going to be able to clean up a couple of eliminations, get themselves back in position on this defensive side of things, and looking good so far. Here we go again.
I mean, these team fights are just non-stop. St. Clair's doing an incredible job of getting themselves re-established now that they've kind of set themselves up on point. They've recognized what they needed to do, and they're doing it well.
And unfortunately there for the Saints, not going to be able to get through that Graviton. The invulnerability field just gets deleted pretty much instantly. So solid job there for the side of Shenandoah. Found their targets, took them down, and they're going to be able to push this thing a good distance to basically get themselves on the doorstep once again. If they get a couple more bodies here on the cart anyway, they've just been putting one back over and over again. So it's going to slowly crawl its way forward, but not get it just yet. But one more good team fight for Shenandoah, and they definitely got it.
I like this decision from Shenandoah because even though you don't necessarily get anything out of it immediately, you're pushing yourself into a really good positional advantage and taking advantage of the space that's available on the map. Yeah, you're pushing the cart slower, but you've got this really strong hold that forces St. Clair into an awkward angle to contest.
And here we go again, of course, a bit of a back and forth. It started off in a fantastic fashion here for the Saints as Apostle completely gobbled up the Blizzard coming out from Clarity. That being said, though, this is not necessarily guaranteed in Saints' favor. Ender's is the last one available, and he is eventually going to go down to the Pistol of Kale. Doxo somewhere nearby. Oh, he's up in the high ground there. So available versus Doxo for at least just a second, but Commanda, Imp, everybody's here. We're going to have ourselves another battle in just a second. Blizzard basically on deck here for Available. Wants to get that last couple of percent. That will definitely change the fight. I like that little wall just kind of completely separate the tank. But Commanda is going to be the first casualty here in this fight. Kale up in the high ground, trying to make something happen. Finds Fena, nearly gets him. Apostle's going to have to go dive in deep to secure that one, and that will cost him his life in this team fight. And now, finally, a little bit of a slowdown moment.
Yeah, it's good to have a little bit of breathing room in these team fights, not just for us here on the caster's desk, but also for the teams as well. You want to take that time, slow things down, find your pick. You know, these extended fights that go on and on and on, not only are they exhausting to play, but they're very difficult to keep track of because there's just so much happening all at once. So St. Clair finally having some breathing room. They've got a lot of ultimates available. It should be a good one.
That Blizzard from Bailable is going to be huge. The support line, the tank line are all frozen, but nobody was really able to get themselves an elimination. That's going to be a solid Graviton coming out here from Enders as well, but at the same time, the back and forth nature of this team fight is just quite nuts. Imp is going to go down, Commanda's down, supports are gone, Saints are not going to be in a good position to take this one, but they're going to try, it looks like, nonetheless. Bailable in the back lines, trying to find clarity. The Blizzard comes out from clarity. Apostle is still here, but has to deal with the Lucio of Breezy and is not going to be able to successfully do it. Imp still just being an absolute nuisance alongside Apostle and Commanda. That Shatter might have actually stopped the beat drop, stopping all the shields from coming out for the side of St. Clair, and it looks like Shenandoah going to get themselves .2.
Losing his ultimate like that is the worst case scenario for St. Clair. Again, it's one of those situations you have to recognize the point is gone. Give it up. Take the slower fight on the next point because now you're fighting without Lucio ultimate, and that ultimate is probably one of the slower ones to charge up on the side of St. Clair. It's not as easy to pull that ultimate charge ridiculously quickly playing a hero like Lucio. So for St. Clair to lose that ultimate like this is really worst case scenario.
They're going to dive on in. They do have the Deadeye to try to make something happen. Nothing going to go down, however. Going to be blocked out by that invulnerability field. The Blizzard, by alongside the Shatter from Prince Wada, is going to clean up this fight. So they do finally get themselves a good team fight with Kale. Going to find himself a quadra kill here in this game. Cleans things up. Beautiful team kill. But they still have to hold for another minute, and they've basically used all of their resources. The only thing available will probably be a Diva Bomb, and then Commanda's Amplification Matrix, which is not the heaviest of impacts in regards to ultimates.
Not a bad look for St. Clair, though. If you look at the side of Shenandoah, they don't really have a whole lot of ultimates either. They're getting close, but St. Clair will have that time to get their ultimate charged up again. So winning that team fight, is a great swing of tempo.
Okay, the fight back and forth here. It looks like Kale's going to find the jump here onto Enders, but he gets the health pack right in the last possible second. Is eventually going to go on down. Saints going to clean this up. It's going to be one more fight here for Shenandoah Esports to try and push forward for the 3 cap.
Now for Clair now, it's all about just like taking that time, slowing things down, looking for those ultimates, getting that poke damage in. It's a really good situation to be in. You have, that defensive positioning here. You're at a good spot. You can hold this choke for a decent amount of time. The enemy team is on overtime. Just take things slowly. Try to build up that charge and take your time with it.
Oh, man, that's going to be a solid beat drop coming out from Imp. Gets it back at the last possible second, but you have to watch out for the Dragon. It's going to take care of Imp. And now, with two members down, it's going to be the tank of Prince Wada alongside Imp. Everybody seems to be falling now for the Saints. With those members gone, that was such a hard fight to try and win. One final push here for Shenandoah. They're going towards the finish.
Clair, this is not what you want to see. You can't get caught by that Graviton. Yeah, the beat comes out, but that ultimate held them all in place and made it really difficult for them to reposition. And now Shenandoah is pulling the St. Clair against St. Clair. They've got the forward defense. St. Clair can't even touch the point. That's going to be Kale dropping on the Tracer and St. Clair going down here as Shenandoah cleans up on map 3.
I mean, the small victory there for St. Clair is the fact that they did completely blow their entire time bank to get that 3rd cap. But that last fight was just, it was nobody's business there for St. Clair. They just got completely demoed. Solid job there from the side of Shenandoah Esports. And now Saints need to find themselves a 3 cap, need to bring this truck all the way to the gates once again. Granted, this is a map that they've played pretty consistently, but I've always remembered them for getting good defenses, not necessarily good offense pushes. So I'm kind of nervous for them, and looking like that Shenandoah might be in a position to bring this to a 2-1 game. But that being said, it's still extremely early, too early to tell, and I'm sure we have enough Saints energy in the chat to push our squad through.
Absolutely. I think I got a little too excited by how well that team fight went for Shenandoah. They are, of course, going to have the side switch, so St. Clair will have an opportunity to redeem themselves on that last point, on this next point, rather. Shenandoah, I don't expect them to hold that forward defense. They've shown that they're a team with a lot of discipline, and I expect them to play that way, especially on this point here. They saw how devastating it was for St. Clair to lose that early advantage and just get absolutely rolled for really the next 2.5 minutes. So be a slower start to this one, I believe. And, the comps kind of lend itself to that. The Mei and the McCree coming up from Shenandoah are obviously heroes that want to do damage from a distance. They don't necessarily, want to be right up in your face. You know what? Forget everything I just said. Shenandoah is just going to put the skill check to St. Clair, it looks like.
I mean, they didn't go necessarily right in their face, but pretty damn close. We're going to have tanks literally just smack each other outside the head with the weapons. Back and forth battles. Both invulnerability fields goes down, and Kale's going to get the first blood here in this round. And Saints clean through this nice and quick. Good stun, but it's going to get caught up on a Mei that's in an ice block. It's just a matter of time before you get taken down. Prince Wada going to do a nice little tackle. If anything, it was actually Impu gets the final blow. So a beautiful team wipe for St. Clair to start off this attacking round. And they've got multiple bodies on the cart. They want to push this thing and push this thing fast.
Anders, I'm scratching my head a little bit, if I'm being honest. I mean, like, we just saw this happen to the other guy. Like, you just did this, and now you're going to do it as well, and you're going to do it even worse, and that's just not what you want to see here on this defense. If you're, rooting for Shenandoah, that's not the defense you're looking for. So St. Clair off to a really good start here, got that ultimate advantage. Hopefully they can abuse that in this team fight.
Okay, the Jedi going to come on down. It's not going to find anybody, however. Enders is going to find Prince Wada. So the one main tank from the side of St. Clair does end up going down. Commander going down as well. A little bit less healing here. Apostle's going to be cut off. Saints are going to fall this time by. Push finally getting shut down here. But to be honest, not a bad spot for the Shenandoah squad to clean this up. And a poor Apostle, he's going to get staggered out like it's nobody's business. There's no cliff to jump off of. So just constantly slowing down this next possible proper 6-on-6, finally going to take him down. Saints kind of in a rough spot. Going to kill some time.
That's so interesting to me, how Shenandoah can play with so much discipline, yet also go for that forward spawn. Like, it's almost like the game switched within 25 seconds. This is exactly what I expected them to do. Hold this, this classic angle. You have a lot of high ground options. You can play around doorways here. Like, this is a much better angle to play defense from.
And that is going to be the Graviton going to scoop up Prince Wada instantly before he could even attempt to shatter. So with the main tank gone, Kale going to fall as well. It looks like Saints are going to be back on the drawing board with Clarity, find himself a double, and Saints running for the hills.
This is exactly what you needed to see for Shenandoah. You play around that doorway, you use your ultimate advantage to set yourself up for kills. You find that pick and you chase the rest of them home, and you keep on doing that slowly and surely. You never overcommit your ults. You only use one, maybe two at a time, and you just keep the fights going. And you force St. Clair into a position where they basically have to press Q on every single hero if they want to break the point. And at that point, it's basically a win, because not only have you burned a lot of this time, but you also force them into this position where now they're resourceless going on to the next point.
They're going to charge on in. That's going to be the Blizzard coming out here. This time from Bailable. It's going to be the Diva Bomb as well. Blizzard v Blizzard. Commander, the support line gets completely destroyed. Unfortunate there for the side of St. Clair, but beautiful for the side of Shenandoah. That being said, still got ourselves a bit of a 3-on-3 in this fight. Right along here with Prince Wada, who actually just did end up going down. Where is Kale in all this? He's out the back, actually, so this one is just going to get completely wiped. Apostle in a very similar situation, and eventually does fall down. So Saints, 3 fights, 3 fails. Oh dear God, they have only like 30 seconds on the clock almost.
This is what I was saying. They tried to do it with 2 ults, and that's just not going to happen into Shenandoah's defense. You need to commit all 6. You've already lost so much tempo after losing that first fight. You have to respect the fact that going into this fight without having all your resources on hand is never going to go your way. And now Shenandoah has a huge lead that they can exploit.
Unfortunately there for St. Clair, the shatter was successful, but it was right in the middle of that invulnerability field from the side of Shenandoah. Feyna had that right on point, keeping her entire team alive. And then it's all up to Apostle again. They have 10 seconds here. Bailable's the only other one alive here, and he's not going to be able to tank anything at all. This is looking brutal. Saints are on the verge of getting full held.
Oh my gosh, like for St. Clair, it's almost like, you can see it happening before it happens. They're just going to keep trickling onto the point, and it's going to be an endless stream of just heroes diving, doing their best to touch, but it's just never going to last for very long. There goes 1, there goes 2, there goes 4. That should round it up for Shenandoah here, going into map number 4 with a 2-1 advantage.
Absolutely brutal stuff coming out here from the defense of Shenandoah. It's funny that, like you were saying, it seemed like a switch flipped or something. Like, how do you go from being defensive directly into their face to then being extremely disciplined? It's usually not a combo we see often, but for the side of Shenandoah, they did it exactly what they needed to do. And it's going to be Dragon Blade X with the play of the game. Going to find that last little shatter just to shut down Bailable. Get one of the heavy DPS players on the side of St. Clair out of that game. So beautifully done in that regard there. So where do we go for Game 4? That is the question. We'll have to see momentarily. Oh.
I mean, it's looking at this. I'm not gonna lie. I'm struggling to put it together because you're looking at this team that's basically beating you in just about every single way. But we're not getting 3-0, Danners. We took a map off them, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it was a convincing map too. But then you're looking at the way that this game played out, and you know the defense was completely trickled from St. Clair. The offense was completely trickled from St. Clair. Like Shenandoah has complete control of the state of the game. Even when St. Clair is able to find map wins or even team fight victories, you know, it might just come down to, you know, what's the style of map? Are these control points maybe more St. Clair favored? Are they struggling when they have to play around a moving objective? You know, when the distance and the space and the positioning matters so much more. So we might see some more, you know, advantageous team fights for St. Clair as we move back towards either these hybrid or these 2 CP maps. But, you know, you don't want to be that team that only wins when you get the maps you like. So for St. Clair, looking at this, you know, you got to find a way to just slow the pace of the game, assess those ultimates, and track those resources. You showed that you could do it on Yijang. Show us that you can do it again now.
I mean, if there's any map that they can get themselves back in the game for here, it's going to be King's Row. That's where we're going for game number 4. Of course, the hybrid style you're mentioning going to be coming out. That being said, though, of course, you don't want to be the team that only wins on the maps you're favorited on. But hopefully here for the Saints, they can at least get this to the point where it's all tied up. We're going to hop on into the action right here, right now. Of course, Shenandoah match point here in this play versus best of 5 matchup. Threatening to put the Saints 1-3 on the season, and that would definitely be a rough start, to say the least.
You know, I'm not going to be honest. I don't think the win record matters here because at the end of the day, you need to recognize that there are spaces and like opportunities for learning. You're playing in all these different leagues. You have scrims, you have games, you have practices, you have VOD reviews. You know, the most important thing is making sure that you're actually gaining impact out of all this playtime, all this time on field. So for St. Clair, you know, if you're losing games in very similar ways, start to pick up on those things and recognize it. Going into this game, however, you know, let's not dwell on the past. Let's look towards the future. I like this composition from St. Clair. It's something they're strong on. It's something they execute on very well, and it works, fits the meta, and fits the map very well. So already off to a good start with this strategic choice from St. Clair.
I mean, Kale's just going to try and bowl right through this. Doxo going to be taken off the board, and of course, the response for the defensive side on King's Row is an absolute eternity. It means the Saints, in theory, if they could prolong this fight just a little bit, should be in the advantage. Breezy nearly getting bursted out here by Kale. Beautiful position here for him, actually. Able to just get a complete bird's eye view on the entire battlefield. Clarity is still hanging in there in the background. Bailable is going to find Dragon Blade, though. He went down earlier in this fight. The Bailable's back and swinging. The Saints are on the point. They've got themselves 2/3 of the way there. And there's just not enough bodies here for Shenandoah Esports to try and capture this. So Saints, very convincing start to this first match here on King's Row. But we'll have to see now. It's time to actually push the cart. How can they do this?
You know, if you're going to win only on the maps that you're good at least you're going to do it consistently. And for St. Clair, you know, we talk about St. Clair on King's Row all the time, and they're showing us why that's a conversation piece. They have such a beautiful execution on this map. I like the way they switched things up and went for the right corridor this time as opposed to going head on. I think it lends itself to the style of team comps. You know, you're playing very similar heroes into each other, so if you can at least get that high ground advantage, maybe help you sneak in a couple more headshots in those team fights and give yourself any advantages you can find to help yourself win out on those mirror matches. I think it's exactly what you need to do, especially when you know that you're playing against such a skilled and qualified opponent. And now for St. Clair, with all these ultimates available, you know, they've got a lot of room to work with.
One thing I'm definitely worried about is the fact that Commando was the only one back there. We have the Shatter coming out here from Prince Wada. Did get himself a little bit of value, and that is going to make so many members on this side of Shenandoah just absolutely drop. Clarity is the last one alive here on the squad. Never mind, Enders is hanging on with just Thread. Okay, arrow in the head from Kale, going to finish the job. And now we also have that Wombo combo here, of course, the Dragon's Kiss, as we've been calling it here on the stream, where I've been calling it because every kiss begins with Kale. But we have, of course, the Grav, the Dragon, ready to go for one more fight.
Oh, Dennis. Why do you do this, man?
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Why do you do this to me? We got our big combo though, so you know I can't complain. I can't be too upset about it. That's exactly what you want to see when you have that Zarya Hanzo taking advantage of that combination. So St. Clair doing a good job to lead this team fight off strong.
And charging on through, Baleball going to find himself the double. Can he get himself one more? Feina's going to just get out of dodge just in time. But a very decisive attack so far here for the Saints squad. Just get some more bodies on this cart. Let's get this moving. Commanda's been basically on cart duty this entire time, which thankfully that Baptiste can heal from pretty far distance. But get this thing moving, put on a little bit of extra pressure, get this in the final straightaway.
Yeah, slow. You know, take your time with this. You know, you've got a lot of ultimates available still. You have the time to get them charged up. Apostle, you know, sitting on nearly 100% this entire fight is going to mean that that grab is going to be up very quickly.
And that's going to be a solid combo coming out here from the side of Shenandoah and just going to bowl them over. Huge shot there from the side of Shenandoah. Dragon Blade getting at least 4, maybe 5 players of the Saints in that shatter. Going to take care of Prince Wada, Imp, and Baleable. The rest of the Saints going to have to run away. And the cart is going to be abandoned for now. But granted, still 4 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock to try and get that 3rd point. Saints aren't in a bad position.
You can talk about that team fight and say, whoa, what a combo, but then you also have to recognize that Shenandoah used 4 ultimates just to win their first team fight of the map. St. Clair now has 5 available, 2 currently showing 3 just about a couple hits away, and with all these resources, like, it's just, they're going to do the same thing to you, but they're going to win the game off of it.
And that's a huge way to start things off. Deadeye going to find 2 on the tank, onto Clarity, and Imp is going to be the only casualty here. And I like the Graviton going to come down here from Apostle. That being said, though, Kale going to hang on to the Dragon. They straight up didn't need it. They could just use this to zone off the point. One more shot to maybe get themselves here. They're right around the corner.
A beautiful job from St. Clair. They did exactly what they needed to do with their ultimates, and this is what I was saying, Dennis. It's a team fight win, but you know, you won the battle, but not the war, and St. Clair is going to be happy to take away this victory in just a couple seconds here as they clean up these last few trickling members of Shenandoah.
Sure enough, the 3 cap going to be the case. Not enough bodies here for Shenandoah to get themselves on board. Doxo falling off the point as well, so unfortunately there for Shenandoah, going to get themselves into a very rough position. Saints looking to force Game 5 after getting all 3 points here on Kings Row with over 3 minutes still in the bank. Sitting pretty, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I've already said it to death, so I won't say it again, but team fight execution from St. Clair on these maps where, you know, you have the ability to get that control and ride things out. I mean, it may not even come down to map type. You know, maybe it's not map type. Maybe it's literally just specific maps. St. Clair can, you know, they've practiced and they've rehearsed it, and that practice is demonstrating itself when you're in your comfort zone. As soon as you're thrown out of your comfort zone, it's almost like you're relearning the game. That's what it looks like, at least, because I don't get how you can go from doing this to a team to getting destroyed the way you did on Havana. It's absolutely mind-blowing to me. So St. Clair, you know, they've proven that they're a strong team. They've proven that they're a force to be reckoned with. I want to see that apply itself to other maps. So coming off of Kings Row, you know, just take this win. We know it's going to happen. You guys don't need to tease us with it anymore. Take this win, but let's start thinking forward to how we're going to do this onto the next one.
I mean, we've seen some crazy matches here on Kings Row, so I'm not going to quite call it just yet. But that being said, this is a position that the Saints are extremely comfortable in.
You know, Dennis, I say so much crap on this page, and half of it gets just like bites me in the butt just constantly. But this is something I'm going to hold myself to, and that is St. Clair on Kings Row is a dub and a half. And I you know what? I love to see Shenandoah prove me wrong.
Hey, somebody's got to be the bad cop, but we do see this first engagement going completely in the favor of St. Clair after a solid wall from Baleable separating the tank from the rest of the team. Dragon Blade goes down. Ender is going to be short to follow as well, so nobody was able to even get anywhere near that capture point.
Strong defense from St. Clair. I really like how aggressive we're seeing Baleable play today. He's getting right up into the enemy face. You know, he's comfortable winning those headshot 1v1 duels at close range, and they're really paying off for him.
I mean, that's a rough way to start this second engagement, however. That's going to be 2 players going down for the side of St. Clair, and with Kale and I think it's Imp who's down as of this moment, they're going to take it to the corner and try to keep things safe. But of course, if you're in the corner, you cannot defend. And as we see, Shenandoah Esports just clean through the Saints and are going to be able to successfully get themselves this point.
Maybe I jinxed it. I don't know what to say. I mean, if you're St. Clair, you burned a minute off. You can kind of pat yourself on the back for that, but definitely was an opportunity to hold a stronger defense. It was kind of odd. They had a really strong start to the defense, and I think they were just taking advantage of the fact that they caught Shenandoah by surprise. But then they backed off, and they gave Shenandoah positional advantage, and then they lost. And that just seems to be the pattern that keeps repeating itself in the series.
And oh goodness, that Shatter's going to finish the job there. So nicely done from the side of Dragonblade, just constantly finding pick after pick. Clarity's going to get himself on the board as well. Kale, the lone Saint alive now in the situation, is going to fall. And there's just something about this Streets phase that's just so volatile. I never usually thought about this part of the map this way, but it just seems like you're hard stuck or you just completely plow through it like it's nobody's business. There is usually no middle ground here.
It's because Shenandoah is so good at abusing their positioning. If they can get a forward push, you know, they can push up into that zone and force St. Clair into a position where they don't have access to playing around walls, playing around high ground. They're stuck and they lose because they don't have that team fight win. They're losing out on the gunfight 1v1s, and because they're losing the strategic plays as well. Shenandoah's skill gap is just showing itself over and over and over again. However, St. Clair, they finally got some ultimates available.
Yep.
That's going to be massive from Kale. That's exactly what you need to do, but you know, you had to commit so much to get that team fight win. It's kind of the same situation that we were on back on point 3 on the other side, is that you had to commit so many things just to get that team fight win that this next time it comes around, you know, you're going to be on the back foot.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, you got the play of the game, but now can you actually hold this? Because, yeah, that was Commanda's Amplification Matrix, that was Apostle's Grav, and Kale's Dragon Strike. So yeah, 3 ultimates all gone. Granted, you have Shatter and Blizzard available, which could hold the line if used correctly. Definitely going to be huge as to how Prince Wada finds his shot. As of right now, it's been very kind of hit or miss so far. And we do see the Blizzard actually come out here from available to start things off. And actually, just by using the Blizzard alone, Saints are going to push us back.
Really well done from St. Clair to get this defense going down. This May pick is really working out for available, and I'm really happy to see it getting picked up. You know, we were talking about Genji buffs on the last patch, and you know, as soon as those Genji buffs come up, May always peeks her head into the meta someplace somehow, and it's really paying off. You know, regardless of the matchup, it's just such a strong hero to use, especially on a map like King's Row, where you can get a lot of value out of that wall, zoning people off that point, and you know, getting yourself set up into that position that you need to be to win those team fights.
Okay, going into this next fight, we do have to watch out for, of course, the Shatter. We also have Clarity's Dragon Strike, which is about to come right through the Saints team. Are they in the invulnerability fields? I think they are, but it's a little bit close. Apostle in a bit of an awkward spot. Shatter comes down for Prince Wada to shut this down for at least a second, but so far a bit of a stalemate. Balebul going to be the first casualty after a solid sound barrier, but that's going to be the Shatter from Dragonblade to just possibly finish this off. Commanda is going to be the first casualty after that, but Apostle fully charged, ready to go. This 100% beam just ready to just shred anybody in front. Does take care of Feyna. She does go down, but eventually Clarity is going to find the shots necessary to clean this up. Bit of a Hanzo battle to possibly finish this one off, and it's going to go to Clarity. Beautiful headshot to bring Shenandoah to their second checkpoint.
A great execution from Shenandoah, but I have to give props to Apostle. He charged up 45% of his ultimate in that fight. Played such an amazing Zarya there. Did a really good job of balancing out the percentage on his laser beam, using his shields effectively to keep his team alive and extend the duration of that fight. And you know, any second that you can burn down, you know, you've already got a time bank advantage.
And here we go. We're going to trade dragons this time by, but it's going to be Commanda who's the only casualty for now until they take care of the invulnerability field and just shred everybody on the side of Shenandoah. We still have about 2 minutes and 45 seconds here on the clock for St. Clair to stop this from being a 3 cap. But that being said, there are still some ultimates on board here for this side of Shenandoah, but maybe not the right ones.
For St. Clair, this is a perfectly fine situation. And, you know, good start to the team fight, obviously, for Kale to get that headshot right there, just like that. But, you know, you did a great job of zoning. It's really good that you can get this forward push now.
And they instantly clean this up after the Blizzard comes on out. And actually, Feyna's kind of in a position that you would normally see a baby diva. So it's going to require Enders to come out and try and make the save, but does not matter. Imp is going to take care of Feyna in the end, does go down. So a little bit of a stagger to get back to this point, but of course still plenty of time on the clock, 2 minutes to make something happen.
I really like the way St. Clair played that. They were in a similar situation to what Shenandoah was on the previous point, but rather than defaulting back after committing all your ultimates, they pushed forward. And because of that, they were triple kill.
That Diva Bomb taking down Kale just destroyed that DPS line, and everybody on the Saints get absolutely melted. This could be the push that Shenandoah are looking for. Can there be enough respawns quick enough? There are ultimates on board for the side of Saints, but can they actually get there to stop this? They are going to be extremely close. I like the Shatter attempt coming out from Dragonblade, but he's going to get absolutely nothing. We have the Dragon coming through, but it's going through a sound barrier, so not going to get any casualties this time by. There comes the Graviton. There's going to be the Gobble 'em Up. Here comes Kale as well, going to do a ton of damage, but nobody really going down. Feyna, the first casualty on the side of Shenandoah Esports, but the rest of the Saints just keep on dropping. Full capture, 3 points to Shenandoah.
Okay, let's talk about it, Danners. They got the 3 cap, but they're down 2 minutes. My money's still on St. Clair. You know, Shenandoah had such an incredible team fight, and that Diva Bomb is really what sold it to them. I was saying right up until then, I actually liked St. Clair's defensive strategy. I thought they were doing an incredible job, and Kale just slightly mispositioned, got picked off by that Diva Bomb, and all of a sudden it's over. Once that core DPS is out of the way, you abuse that pick relentlessly, that 6 versus 5, and you know, you roll the point just like that, and Shenandoah zoning St. Clair off with that bomb. You know, it's all about the movement. You know, if I could watch this VOD again, slow it down, review it, and just look at the way Shenandoah, like from a bird's eye view, moves around the map and wins team fights based off their movement. Like, it's incredible. And for St. Clair, you know, you're coming back. I believe they're going to be defending here.
Correct, yep.
On this side. They're going to be back on defense. You know, you need to apply that immediately. You saw how well you defended when you held your ground. As soon as you gave them an inch, Shenandoah took a mile.
Little bit of a post-defense picture opportunity here for the side of St. Clair, as we then get blocked out because Available's trolling me a little bit. Hopefully that wall comes back off of cooldown, because that's actually getting kind of close to starting time here. But we'll have to see. Saints on the defensive side of things. I mean, defender's advantage is not necessarily as much of a thing in Overwatch, so we'll have to see if they can hang on to this.
It's not about defense, it's about positioning, right? It's about, can you find that ideal location to take that team fight, and how long can you hold it without getting zoned off? And you know, this May wall is a great way to do that. You zone the enemy team down, you force them to drop earlier than they'd like.
That was absolutely huge for the side of Shenandoah. They instantly pop Imp like it's nobody's business, and that means that all the healing is going to be stuck onto Commanda. You take her down, and there's just absolutely nothing left. Saints get absolutely mowed over like it's nobody's business. That's going to be the freest capture I've seen in my life. Beautifully done there from Shenandoah.
What was the macro call there, Danners? Like I said, again, they're making me look silly on cast here. That was such a good decision, you know, getting that May wall down, forcing the enemy team to drop, and then your Lucio was frontlining. Like, you have the right intention, but the execution is all wrong. You've got to take it step by step, and everyone has to be on the same page.
I have no idea, because I was definitely questionable, but we're getting to the point now where, sure, that first point did go down, but now it's going to be pure overtime for the side of Shenandoah. They have to have somebody on that cart at all times. Dragon Strike going to be coming through here for clarity, and here comes the Shatter as well. Does catch Apostle as well as a couple others, and a solid fight here for the side of Shenandoah. Going to keep things going. Anders and the rest of the squad going to be pushing forward. Just don't forget the cart. The moment you walk off that thing, game's over.
I mean, I don't think Shenandoah is ever going to be caught lacking in that regard. They've shown that they understand the game. They've shown that they know what they're doing, and they've shown that they have really good grasp on their positioning. So no C9s today. At least that's not my projection. But St. Clair, you know, they're going to play this real safe. They're going to come and defend this right at the final hour here.
Oh my gosh.
The way to start that team fight.
How about just as soon as you show yourself, we're just going to nuke you down like it's absolutely free. 2 extremely quick points here for Shenandoah. Of course, now they got to keep themselves here just a little bit more. That makes me extremely nervous. I've seen teams of all sorts of skill levels, even professionals, always forget the objective after maybe seeing red and getting a little bit bloodthirsty. But this is looking scary for St. Clair. This could be a 3-pointer off of like a minute.
Yeah, I mean, Shenandoah really came to play on this map, but for St. Clair, you know, if we're looking at resources, they've got a number of ultimates available. It doesn't look too bad. You're coming up on that grab, you've got the sound barrier, you have a number of ways of executing a team fight here. You just need to get it locked and loaded.
Oh my. absolutely catastrophic here for St. Clair. Prince Wada just went down with the Shatter in hand. Dragon Strike is not on target. It didn't hit anything. Actually, never mind. It did take care of Doxo. I'm an absolute liar. But still, not the kind of angle that they would have wanted. Thankfully there for St. Clair, that may still be enough. There's only 2 members left on the side of Shenandoah to clean this up. Feyna does go down. Enders right around the corner. Here comes Breezy. Sound barrier in hand. Able to keep Enders up just a little bit longer. A nice little boop actually going to clean off the point, and St. Clair going to finally stop this on the doorstep of point 3.
I love how you criticize the Hanzo ulti that actually kept St. Clair in the game. The triple kill from Kale is literally the only thing that actually kept him on this
Absolutely,
map.
absolutely.
You know, sometimes you just miss, Dan. Sometimes you just miss. And it's all good because going onto this attack now for St. Clair, you know, St. Clair's going to prove that I didn't miss. They're going to win this one. They're going to do it for me because, you know, we have that bond. I've casted all of these games, you know. I try my best to make them look good. They gotta make me look good now too. That's what I'm praying for. That's what I'm hoping for. But going on this attack, I mean, we've seen them have incredible attacks on this map. I have absolute faith in this team to take the most out of these 3 minutes and really just give Shenandoah a good, hard-fought game.
Absolutely, and I say time and time again here on the stream, I don't mind being wrong, and I'll call myself a liar when those situations occur. So, of course, big props to Kale. Getting what I thought was outside the hitbox did actually get himself a good couple of eliminations. So that kept, of course, St. Clair in the game. Nicely done, but now, of course, they got to repeat this here on the attacking side. They have 3 minutes, but that doesn't guarantee anything. It's anyone's game still.
Danners, do you see what I see?
What am I looking at?
That's a Widowmaker, Hanzo. Just kidding.
That was a Widowmaker.
I was so excited, and then he hits me with the bait and switch. I would have loved to see double sniper. I think it's such a great way to, you know, make a round end quickly. If you can find that early pick or two just to set it up, you know, push that numbers advantage onto the point. But I think they're going to go back. You know, if it ain't broke, why fix it? And that's really the approach we're taking here on this push.
And of course, point blank here with the opposing squad. Doxo going to be the first casualty here, and it's going to be on the side of Shenandoah, of course. Prince Wada finding that elimination. Can they make this into a solid push? Would be the time to go for it. Good shield here from Apostle right on to Prince Wada. Gets himself up to 100% too. That Zarya is doing so much damage. The tank is just about to get melted down, but the Shatter comes out just in time from the side of Dragonblade. That being said, though, still a bit back and forth. Saints 3/4 the way through. Give him a little bit of a boop in the noggin, and that is going to be the capture of the first point, but we still have a point and a half to go.
Popo is just performing exceptionally well on the Zarya pick. He's making the most out of it at all points and turns. His ability to manage his charge is really just something to be amazed by. He's always at 100%, and even if he's not, his ultimate is charging 10 times faster. He's already at 70% within the first like 45 seconds of the round, and he wasn't even in combat for the first 20 of them. So just really good execution with this pick, and he's really making the most out of this hero. It's great synergy. You know, getting that grab is exactly what you need to win this next team fight.
A little bit rough here, though. Clarity right through the amplification matrix. Going to find the headshot onto Balebo, instantly deleting him off the map. So Saints are going to fall. This is going to be a team wipe. They have to run back, save your resources, regroup, and try to get yourself one more push, because by the time you guys get there, you'll probably have a minute left on the clock, and then you got to worry about overtime very shortly.
You have a little bit of breathing room because you finished with that 3 minutes. That being said, Shenandoah almost completely free capped, so there's not a whole lot of room for error. You just take some time. You don't have to rush yourself. Count the seconds and take the most out of every minute you get. And these team fights, you know, this is pretty good for St. Clair if you can find these early picks and transition into something more.
That's one way, a little bit of a back and forth, of course, here for the points right now. The Soldier 76 actually coming here from Doxo. Something to get himself a little bit more extra mobility versus these sniper shots from Kale and Balebo. I mean, of course, McCree, not necessarily a sniper, but that revolver might as well be at times. So I like the opportunity, or like the pick rather, for the opportunity to have those aim hacks as well. Should be nerve-wracking going for this next one. The second checkpoint right around the corner.
Now for St. Clair, you know, charge up those ultimates. I keep saying it, take it slow. And they've got the 3. That's the grab. That's a good way to start things off. But you're playing into a sound barrier. You got to take assessment of these things before you commit that. Because now this fight has to go your way.
And that's definitely going to be the kind of thing that we're I was kind of expecting here. Beautiful stuff coming out of Doxo. You do not see very much Soldier 76 picked up in this meta. And actually, a bit of a catastrophic fail there with that fight. There was only 10 seconds left. Can the Saints even touch this point?
I think that's going to be game enders. They're getting zoned off pretty hard. And even with that Tracer Lucio, you've got a lot of distance to cover. I don't think they're going to be able to touch in time. And that should be the game for Shenandoah. Unfortunately, St. Clair just getting too aggressive with the Graviton Surge is actually going to cost them the game.
Absolutely close, but no cigar this time here for St. Clair. Apostle going to find himself the play of the game, but play of the game may, or does not rather, give you the victory at the end of the day. Sure, gobbling up 4 and getting a massive multi-kill is definitely wonderful, but at the end of the day, Saints are going to go down here to Shenandoah Esports. I think this is going to be the second time that we've played Shenandoah across 2 games, and they've gotten our number on both occasions, from what I understand. The Shenandoah squad looking very, very strong across the board, and just nothing but good things to say about them. Very good games, and it was very back and forth, but unfortunately, just a couple of off moments there for the Saints just went such a long way. You gave them an inch, they took a mile, and just ran away with it.
I really think that's the summary of today's set, is that, you know, against better teams, your little mistakes, your little windows that other teams aren't exploiting, when a better team exploits them, it feels so much worse. So you really have to, you know, amp up your game in such a way that you're acknowledging these tiny little mistakes and recognizing that, you know, you can't just ignore them anymore. You have to start rectifying them. You have to start addressing them. And I think the big one for me is positioning. In these team fights in positions that you don't want to be in, you're giving them too much breathing room to get on top of you, to get better angles, to find headshots. You know, the big team fight that comes to mind is that first initial defense on Kings Row for St. Clair when, you know, we lost Imp on Lucio within the first 10 seconds. You howl a forward defense and your support is frontlining, right? So if this is the strategy you're going to take, everyone has to be on the same page and know what their role is if they're going to play these forward defenses.
Absolutely, and of course, with the Lucio being all nice up in the front line, you want him behind that shields, but there's, for whatever reason, there's just, I know personally anyway, seeing a shield in front of you, even if it's your own, of course, you're able to, as a teammate, you're able to shoot through Reinhardt's shield, but there's always that, like, natural instinct to kind of peek out from the shield and take a shot, and I feel like that may have actually just kind of bit Imp there, or he was just straight out, like, just out of position, like you were saying, and just Shenandoah was able to abuse those small little engagements, take care of one support, then it's like, okay, where's the other support? Where's Commanda? Oh, geez, she's in the corner on Baptiste, of course, so let's just all take care of her, and then there's no healing left. Then it's just a matter of time, especially on the when Shenandoah is on the attacking side of things. But just the discipline, I think, from Shenandoah was just that much better. They would try to do something kind of cheeky, kind of fun, realize it doesn't work. It's like, okay, let's play standard. Let's take our time. Let them come to us, and anytime they were able to successfully pull that, or anytime they were able to do that, they did it successfully.
I don't know. That was still really funny to me, that defense on Havana. Like, you know, you literally just saw it fail, and then you did it, and you're like, it's okay, I can make this work. And then it failed, even worse. And it's just, I don't know, it's just silly to me. Like, I think teams are finally realizing how to break through that defense on Havana. You know, I doubt St. Clair's going to maintain that level of, you know, aggression carrying on through the rest of the season. Definitely not against teams that have demonstrated skill like Shenandoah. You know, it's one of those things that's, it's a little pub stompy, right? It's like picking pharmacy. You know, you pick it against teams that, you know, aren't going to punish you for it. But when a team punishes you for it, it feels really, really bad, as we saw on both occasions on that map. So really, I mean, again, you know, we always say it, but it's about discipline and just tightening things up. But, you know, I will give a little credit where credit is due. I feel like I'm always really critical of the team on these casts, but that's because I want to see them succeed. And I have to be honest, they are improving.
Oh, for sure.
And you can see that improvement in a number of ways, especially for the newer members of the team. You know, whereas at the beginning of the season, they were dying first in every fight. Now, you know, they're hanging on a little bit. They're actually able to find angles, provide value, and it's just tightening up ship. That's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, and I know I do the exact same thing as Ishadi. I'm constantly, it feels like, even though this is, of course, the hometown stream for St. Clair, it oftentimes feels like I'm kind of cheering on the other squad. But it's just because, one, I'm always looking for a good match. I don't like stomps. But two, of course, I like to see the team constantly improving. And I completely echo exactly what you're saying there. Like, some of the new players to the squad, even a couple of the veterans, because, yeah, beforehand, like I would just keep remembering, like there'd be times where Imp and Commando would be caught frontlining, or just their hero selections in general would be more like personal favorite rather than composition based. And now it's like, did Commanda get off of Baptiste like once at all? Maybe once on Havana, I think. But like Baptiste, you need it, and it wasn't necessarily your kind of hero going into it, but you stuck to it and you did exactly what you needed to do. But unfortunately, here in this case, Shenandoah squad just did it better here, and it was too bad because it was a very close game. The score doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, maybe we'll win next game if Kale's Hanzo ults are better, right?
Commentator's curse, yes, absolutely. Because yes, I don't. This is going to be. Of course, I don't expect any of the kisses of death to actually get any kills whatsoever in the next matchup on Thursday. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But we'll have to see. Of course, calling me out on it. That was definitely funny, though.
I mean, that pretty much wraps it up for this game. I mean, it is what it is, and you move forward onto the next one with your head held high. But Danners, I believe we've got some upcoming games this week we might want to take a look at, sir.
What are you talking about? I'm taking the rest of the week off. No, I'm just kidding. There's absolutely nothing like that going on. What is a day off unless somebody forfeits? Anyway, we do have, of course, our schedule up ahead here. Tuesday, of course, we have a doubleheader starting things off at 5:30. NECC Rocket League action up against Fanshawe. Battle of Ontario going to be an interesting one to watch for sure. Make sure you catch that, of course. Then Tuesday at 8 o'clock as well, CCL Call of Duty Cold War. Only got one match, not two this time by. We have a bye for the 9 o'clock match, so we'll just have that one there. Wednesday, we have, of course, the 3 hours worth of back-to-back-to-back play versus Fortnite trios. Going to be another epic night. Our Saints, I believe, are in the top 20 right now of multiple hundreds of teams. Looking forward to seeing how they could push forward there. Thursday, we do have ourselves some Rocket League action at 8 o'clock and 9:15, and I do believe on the NECC channel, there was also some Overwatch action here for our Saints at, I believe it's 5:30. So make sure you tune into our channel for that as well, and we'll redirect you to the stream. Then, of course, last but not least, Friday at 9 o'clock, CR6, Collegiate R6 Rainbow Six Siege action. Saints looking to try and turn their luck around. They've had themselves a hard season so far, and with the new patch, the new season around the corner, hopefully they can find some way to turn things around, because they've been on a bit of a rough streak, to say the least.
I mean, it's been a while. I'm not going to lie. It's been a while since I've seen our R6 team play, but I've always enjoyed watching their matches. And, regardless of the win record, we just love seeing great esports on the channel. I just love watching these games. I'm here casting every freaking game, and I don't even know half of them, if I'm being honest. I just love watching it. It's such a good time. It's enjoyable. It's entertaining. You get to see your classmates, your friends, really just popping off on stream, which is such a cool, unique experience. So, it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And of course, for anybody else, actually, let's run through this a little bit. For anybody else who may be interested in working any sort of production or possibly interested in doing commentary, if you are a student of St. Clair College, doesn't have to be in the esports program, it could be any program, hop on into our St. Clair College Discord and send me a message. Regardless of your experience level, looking to level up some new commentary squads out here. As much as I love being the face of sorts of the Saints esports team stream, I am absolutely ready to hop into the back lines, let some new young blood hop into the hot seat and get some commentary experience. So if you want to give it a shot, do it. Give me a message. And of course, if you are looking to maybe not necessarily be for the commentary production side of things, but you're looking to play, we do have recruitment currently open for the games on screen right here, right now, including Valorant, wink wink. So make sure you apply below, stclairsaints.ca/join. Oh dear, it's one of those days, isn't it? Oh god. But make sure you join below via the form at stclairsaints.ca/join. And of course, if you happen to have liked the sweater that I'm wearing here right now, go get one for yourself here on our Acquire shop, of course, as the Saints merch shop on acquire.ca/saints. You can pick up all these items and more, and I know I'm kind of biased and whatnot, but I will say they are extremely comfy. So make sure you pick one up for yourself and represent the St. Clair Saints varsity esports team in style. But with that, is there any final thoughts here for you, Shadi, before we get ready to close on out here for tonight?
Nothing from me, but we should give a couple quick thank yous, Mr. Danners. We got to obviously, of course, thank everyone in chat and all of our viewers for supporting our streams. You know, coming in and hanging out with us every night of the week. It's such a good time. You know, we love having you there. We love enjoying these games with you guys, watching these games with you guys, sharing our favorite moments and clips on Twitter, on Discord. So make sure you check out those social media below as well. Drop us a follow so you always know what we're up to. And lastly, of course, we would like to thank our sponsors for the stream. Without you guys, it wouldn't be possible to host these events. That being, of course, St. Clair College Alumni Association, PC Outlet, Zekelman School of Business and IT, St. Clair College, Tim Hortons, and the St. Clair SRC. Thank you all once again for, you know, giving us the opportunity to do stuff like this and providing awesome opportunities for our students.
Absolutely. I want to give one, maybe two more thank yous here. Of course, one to Shadi. Thank you once again for joining me here on the commentary desk. Wherever I need you, you're basically right there. So thank you very much for constantly being there and being reliable here for this gigs.
Of course, like I said, I'm just having fun. This is just a Monday night for me. I'm just chilling.
Absolutely, fair enough. And one more thank you, of course. I don't do this too often, but to my fiance Shells, for thank you for hanging on to my son while he's trying to sleep, but I'm yelling at the top of my lungs for commentary. Thank you so much. Big shout out to you.
That's so heartwarming. You're so cute. Oh, you're such a cutie. Oh, jeez. I was going out of this all like kind of like bummed out, but like also excited, and now it's just such a mix of well of emotions.
Well, glad we can do that to you, and then probably to everybody else on the viewership side of things as well. Definitely an interesting time here. But of course, still plenty of action to come around. We'll see you again tomorrow, as we do have both Rocket League and Call of Duty. So for now, we'll sign on out. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you tomorrow.